Hey boys, and welcome back to another Bleach Bracer video, and today we have another episode of Reasons to Resurrect, and in today's episode we're going over the first Lost Agent banner that features Ruka, Rukia, and Renji. Now when this banner first came out in 2017, it was actually kind of crazy. The three characters featured, so Rukia, Renji, and Ruka, were all enhanced links, so going into this resurrection I was kind of excited, but at the same time not, because there's always the, there's always like the 90% chance that Caleb kind of cut their second soul traits, and that's kind of what we got today. We kind of got a mixture of both of them. We got some good links and some bad links, and you're going to see that late in the video. Or, to be fair, we are kind of late to this, so you probably already know, right? But that being said, though, this banner came out January 2017. A little throwback to this banner. It was actually kind of exciting when it first came out, because obviously this was the first canon Rukia 5-star, which was exciting as is. Now, the Rukia wasn't the best character I released, but she was still worth going for back then. Then we had Ruka, who was obviously the start of the Fullbring characters, a fan favorite. Everyone wanted to go for her. She was also a top tier character, probably the best SP character in the game, in my opinion, until Fullbring Ichigo came out like 4 months after. And then we had Renji, who was actually a good NAD character, and probably the first good Renji in-game, so this banner was definitely going to be a must summon. However, there was a thing that happened that some of you might not even know, because you might have started late, and that's the fact that Global back then was a month behind JP. So by the time this banner did come to Global, we were able to see what the next end of month banner was going to be, and that was obviously the banner that featured Broken. So I don't think many people pulled in this banner, unless they were your favorite characters. And for me, I completely skipped this banner. I eventually got him over time, but it was an easy skip after seeing what was the next month banner, and that obviously featured Broken. That was pretty much the main reason I think most people did skip. So that's a little backstory to the banner. Now let's actually get into the characters. Now, before we even do get into the characters, there's one thing you should know about Resurrections. The stat increase for every character is always the same. Every character, when they do Resurrect, they're going to get 35 stamina, 54 additional attack, 6 defense, 17 focus, and 88 SP. That's always going to upgrade their stats. Then again, with Transcendence, stats don't really matter that much. It's mainly about the skills and the strong attacks that they have. Another thing to take note of is the fact that if you are a melee character, your NAD range is going to get increased to 375, which means if you are NAD based, so let's say Renji in this example, he's going to receive a slightly better buff compared to the other characters, because now his NAD range is just better, even though he didn't really see an increase in his long range. That's something to take note of, and that's about it. Now let's actually talk about the characters, and we're going to start off with Renji. So Renji is a Mind Sorry Killer with the Hollow Killer ability. Now this character right here does have a normal attack plus 25% soul trait, which is kind of exciting, and especially when you do look at his second soul trait, which is now 12% DR. And that's actually a very good combo. Now I don't think this kind of meta for PvP, because you kind of want to value the DR more. So even though you're missing out on that extra 4% DR, I don't think it's worth losing that for an extra 25 normal attack damage. I'm not entirely sure, so maybe someone can correct me that in the comments below. But from my understanding, you kind of want to prioritize 16 DR and 20 DR over a 12 DR with an extra 25 NAD. So that's something to take note of. So this character, even though he's going to be a good link for PvE content, for PvP I don't think he's going to see much use unless you lack DR links. And honestly, he's not a bad idea to use as a link. And this character, he saw a small increase. The changes that happened this time was that his NAD range went from 390 to 450. Even though he didn't see any increase in his long reach, it's because, like I said at the start, where you do resurrect, every NAD or every melee character gets that 375 range, and because I believe he does have 20% long reach, his range is now 450. So it went up, what, 60 points? That's a decent amount to go up by, so I think that's a pretty good buff. His bruiser also went up by 20%, which is always nice, and then obviously he did get the 12% DR as his second link. So overall, as an upgrade, this character technically got a decently good upgrade. He now has more range, and he also hits harder. Now, is he a character you're going to be using? Probably not. Like most characters we're going to be talking about for the next couple months until we get some better characters, you're not really going to see him used at all in PvE, unless you really want to use him. However, because he did pick up the 12% DR as a second link, it does make him quite usable as a link. Now, I don't think I'm going to use him for my main characters in PvP, not that I use one anyway. I think a 16 or 20 DR is still better, but hey, if you lack DR links, then that's always an option. Moving on to Rukia. Rukia is a power Sorry Killer with the Hollow Killer ability. This character right here, unfortunately, wasn't the best character. I think she's definitely the weakest in the banner, and she saw probably the worst upgrade in this which is obviously disappointing because she was also one of the better links and she's a 14 recharge. So I had high hopes for her to be a good 14 recharge link. And obviously with the last Resurrection batch who we had Tag Team Rangiku, who was also a 14 recharge, it's disappointing to see she also got the same treatment, and obviously she got the freeze duration as a second link, which it's not even 100%. I really wish Caleb would do that, because nowadays with characters, we're not getting 100% resistance to certain elements as links anymore. So I don't think every link has a 100% resistance. So I would actually like to see Caleb start doing this, where instead of giving us 55 freeze duration as second links, they give it 100. I think that would be quite, or not, it wouldn't be OP. But I think maybe it would actually. I don't know, but I think it will be quite good. That being said, her NAD range, similar to Renji, also went up to 375. So originally it was 357 with the, I think, extra 10% of long reach. So now that it's 375, that extra 10% of long reach now takes it up to 412. She also lost Devastation for Bombardment, which I don't know if that's entirely an upgrade, but hey, it means her special bomb might hit harder. It hits more times now, so that's okay. I don't think you're really going to ever use her for nuking. Unfortunately, with the old guild quest, now that that's gone, you don't really get to use some of these characters as nuking characters, so I guess this bombardment isn't really going to be anything game changer. And then her bruiser went up by 10%. So again, a kind of small increase. She didn't receive Frenzy. She's not a Frenzy character, so you're not going to use her. You barely used her back then, and that's about it. Even as a link, that freeze duration will be helpful for 55%, but it would have been better if it was anything else but a element resistance. Now for Iruka, she definitely saw the smallest upgrades, and that's mainly because she was already way better compared to the other two, so she doesn't really need that much of an upgrade. But the upgrade that she did get, I guess, kind of make her better. So she got 3 changes, or 2 changes, I guess, and 1 additional, and that's her second trait. Her first one was a 10% increase in her devastation, which now means she can nuke 10% harder. Not that big of a deal. She can weaken, so hey, it's something, I guess. Her second change, which definitely is the biggest in my opinion, is that her third strong attack is now a ranged attack instead of melee. So that means if you, for some reason, if you have a max transcended, you want to use her in extreme co-op, or if you're bringing into the Senkamon where there are melee resistances, now she doesn't have that problem where she has 2 ranged attacks and 1 melee attack. So now all of her attacks are ranged. She's a 100% ranged character. She won't have problems guard breaking. She won't have problems against any resistances with melee. So in my opinion, I think that's quite a good upgrade. And then her second soul trait is no attack damage plus 16%. So plus 25 SAD as her first, and plus 16 NAD as her second, which honestly is quite a good link, and it does make up for the fact that she now has an easier time guard breaking, kind of. So that's basically the whole upgrades. Overall, decent. I would have preferred Rukia to get better treatment for this second link. And for Rukia and Renji, they definitely saw the biggest upgrades and definitely makes them more usable. But not that it makes them usable, but it definitely makes them more usable to some extent. So, hey, definitely more so with Rukia than Renji, but it was decent upgrades. Honestly, I'm not that disappointed with this Resurrection batch. It does make them better. Definitely the biggest disappointment, though, was the 14 recharge, but I guess Caleb aren't ready to give 14 recharges good second links. So, maybe in the future. I believe the next 14 recharge link is going to be the Swimsuit Nelio, which I thought would have been the next Resurrection character, but apparently not. Maybe we have to wait for next year, or maybe we have to wait a few more months when it's their time. Now, the next Resurrection batch has actually already been data mined because I'm uploading this quite late, so I will try to upload that one a bit earlier when it does actually come out. And so far, at least for Mashiro, she's going to be one of the better links, and definitely an OP link or a must-have link if you want to play PvP for Chad and Ichibe. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you smack the like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think about these characters or these resurrections in the comments below, and I'll see you lads in the next one. Peace.